so that you can get exposed to that virus or that bacteria in small amount, and that will build up your immune system to it. Well, hi, everybody. This is the 8th post now in my series on the epidemic of autoimmune diseases, how these diseases can be prevented, how they can be cured, what's causing them, and how they can be diagnosed early. If you missed out on previous posts, please go back and look at them, because all of these posts are building on each other, and it's really important you hear all the posts. This time we're going to talk about the hygiene hypothesis. It was initially formulated in the early 2000s. Researchers built it on the idea, particularly in industrialized societies, so reduced exposure to bacteria and viruses, particularly in our industrialized first world societies, is one reason why we have such an epidemic of allergies, which we do, by the way. I'm focusing on autoimmune diseases, but we have an epidemic of allergies as well, and autoimmune conditions. So the hypothesis points out that the absence of being exposed to certain pathogens, that means bacteria and viruses, and microbes such as you can get from flies, for example, which historically shaped immune system function, we've known about this for a long time, may lead to a weakened immune system, increasing the risk of allergies and autoimmune diseases. In other words, folks, the hygiene hypothesis is suggesting that in first world countries and societies, we are too darn clean. We don't get exposed to enough of the microbes out there to build up positive immune systems that can fight those microbes and deal with those microbes. The same effect happens from the incredible overuse of antimicrobial soaps. These are the things that researchers listed. Antimicrobial soaps, antimicrobial mouthwashes, antimicrobial hand applications, tabletop antiseptics. All those things, they're all over the place in our germ-phobic modern world. In other words, being obsessed with germ exposure from flies, all of these other measures that we take in first world countries to limit our exposure to germs only serve to make our immune systems weaker, not stronger. Is this crazy? Is this a crazy theory? No, it is not. There's plenty of evidence to back it up. It's supported by epidemiological and experimental evidence that clearly shows that being exposed to small amounts, small is key, of bacteria can prevent the occurrence of autoimmunity. That goes for viruses as well, by the way. This has been particularly shown to be a factor in type 1 diabetes and multiple sclerosis, with research highlighting the complex interplay between microbial exposure, immune responses, and autoimmune disease development. Look, although I don't really have any faith in vaccines, okay, I'm one of those guys. Okay, I don't believe the vaccines are what we've been told they are and how wonderful they are. Okay, so, but although I have no faith in vaccines, they're basically built on this hypothesis. A vaccine is a small exposure to a germ that induces a healthier immune system response to that germ. That's what vaccines do. Flies do the same thing. The hygiene hypothesis suggests that a much better approach would simply be to go back 100 years and get dirty. Stop all the antibacterial chemicals constantly being promoted, and be around plenty of flies and people with infections. Now, I'm not saying if you're immune suppressed, you should go hug and kiss somebody with a viral infections. I'm saying, though, if you're not immune suppressed, you don't have to necessarily hug and kiss them, but be around them, be in the same room, be within 6-10 feet of them, so that you can get exposed to that virus or that bacteria in small amount, and that will build up your immune system to it. The hygiene hypothesis is now recognized, by the way, as a significant factor for understanding the relationship between environmental factors, immune system development, and the rising incidence of both allergic and autoimmune diseases. Now stay with me on this incredibly important topic, okay, of the autoimmune disease epidemic, because in the next post, I'm going to discuss with you something really amazingly important. And what I'm going to be talking about is something that most of, if not close to all of my colleagues, know absolutely nothing about. And pretty much all those people that think that vaccines and antibacterial soaps and all that are the greatest thing in the world for immunity, we're going to blow that out of the water next time, because I'm going to be explaining to you how the immune system literally and actually suppresses itself. Okay, so hang on. We'll talk about that next time.